Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video in Unreal Engine using C++. Today I'm going to be showing you how to pick up objects in Unreal Engine, like I said, using C++. So we're going to jump straight into it, no dilly-dallying around. So the first thing we want to do is add a physics handle. So let's just copy and paste this top bit, because it's going to be a component. Might as well have the same as what we've got. This is in the character, sorry, if I didn't say that then. We have a T-object pointer, and then it's going to be a U-physics handle. This is what we use to pick up the objects. If I can spell. Where is it? U-physics handle component. Yeah, it's just there. And you will need to forward declare this. I'm going to call this physics handle. Physics handle. I can spell. There we go. Perfect. So to pick up this object, we also want to use an input action. So we need to create one of them. We have some input actions here. I don't know why they all look like this. I'm going to change them all because this will annoy me. So T object pointer. Just do that. I'm going to change it for more because it will annoy me. Control C, copy that. I'm going to add an input action called interact action. So when we interact with the object. We also need a begin play, which doesn't have for some reason. So let's create a begin play. And just forward declare that dead quickly. That's done. So we need some functions. So I'm going to put these in protected. There's two protected sections on top of each other there. So the first function is going to be a U function. And we're going to call this void keep hold of object. Caps lock stuck on. Keep hold of object. Perfect. That's one. So this will be called every 0.0116th of a second. It's the same as delta time. So essentially, we're just checking if it's still holding the object. We also need an interact function that gets called to pick up the object. So let's do, I'm going to copy this U function we have here. And I'm going to do two of them. We're going to do interact and interact completed. So void, interact, interact. The next one's going to be void, interact completed. Completed. There we go. So I want to make these three functions. Let's highlight them all, generate definitions. Boom, they'll all get added in. That's perfect. We also need to check if we are holding the object. So let's create a U property. Don't need all that. I'm going to call this bool be picked up object. Say we picked it up. To start off, this will be false. On type today, sorry about that. Just like every day. We also need the F timer handle to call the timer, because we're not using tick. We're using timer functions, so we can stop and start them, because we don't want it to tick and check if we're constantly picking up the object. We have the object. We want it to only check if we have the object after we've picked it up. So I'm going to call this a U property. I'm going to call this F timer handle. Picked up timer handle. That's perfect. And we need one more U property. This is the distance. So how far away we can interact with it, how far away that object stays. So this is called object distance. I can spell today, distant. There we go. Perfect. Now we've got them done, we can jump in the character on this first person template, and then inside of your constructor you just want to create the physics handle. Physics handle equals create the default subobject, that'll be u physics handle component, and inside here it'll be text brackets physics handle. It's auto corrected for me, so that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So we've created the physics handle. The next thing you want to do in begin play is put the object distance. I've been doing some testing in the past and I found 500 units is perfect. I should type in number 5 then, which was clearly wrong. 5,000, 500 units, so that's perfect. Now the first thing we want to do when we start the game is set the timer. We're going to set it to start and then automatically pause it, so we can pause and unpause it. So we need get world and brackets, capital W. Here, get world, set timer. Oh no, it's get timer manager, sorry. Get timer manager. And then it's dot set timer, and the timer word setting is the pickup timer handle, sorry. And the object it's binding to is this. And then the function we're going to be calling is the a pickup character, and we're going to be calling the keep hold of object timer. Keep hold of object. So to call this delta time 60 frames a second is 0.016, and we want it, next thing we want to do is loop it, that's true. Straight away, like I said, we're gonna pause this, not clear it, it's all done it, so pause timer. Perfect. That's begin play all set up. Now we need to do the binder functions that we create interact, so I'm going top to bottom here, so if it does seem a bit confusing it'll all link it together. So I'm just going to copy this and modify it for our own. So we've got the interact action. There we go. And we're going to have one as started, one as completed. And one's going to call interact. One's going to call interact completed, which is the completed one. Makes sense. If I'm going too fast, just pause the video. If I'm not going fast enough, just pick up the video speed. So the next one we want to work on is, let's start with keep hold. We're going to start with interact so it makes sense. Right, for interact we're going to start off with and checking if it's been picked up. If be picked up object is true. We're going to put the code in for that in a minute. If it's not been picked up, we need to pick it up, so let's do the code for that first. So the first thing I want is an F vector. F vector, we're going to call this start location equals first person camera component we're going to get, and get component location. It's auto corrected for us there perfectly. Next thing we want is the F rotator rotation. So it's going to call it F rotator. I'm going to call it rotation first person camera component get camera component rotation. Well, sorry, get component rotation. Next thing we want is an F vector again. So we're going to get, I'm going to call this end location. Or you could call it target location. It's up to you. So we're going to get the rotation and then you get the vector. Start location, rotation, the vector, and then times it by your object distance, which is 500. That's perfect. So now we need the parameters for our line trace single by channel. So we need an F hit result. This will make sense when we're going through it. Call it hit. F collision. It's F collision query params, I believe. Yeah, collision params we'll call that. We'll just call it params and keep the names a bit smaller. Next thing we want is params dot add ignored actor. So we want to ignore this. So we don't want to be hitting ourselves. Next param is not that. We're going to use B trace complex. I'm going to set that to true. Perfect. We've got a lot of the parameters for our line trace. So now we have a bool called B hit and equal it to the line trace. So get world line trace single by channel. And the first parameter is the hit result. The next one is the start location. Then we need the end location. And then we need the visibility. So E, I think it's CC underscore visibility. That's the collision channel, sorry. Yeah, that's obviously what I meant. And then params for the last one. So here we're getting a line trace single by channel. So we're getting the hit, we're getting the start, the end, the trace channel, and the parameters. So first blocking hit found. At the start of the location is where you're looking from. The end location is how far the distance we've put, which is 500. So the end location of the array. And then you can add additional parameters and obviously the trace channel you've got there. So we've got the visibility. So dead quick, I'm going to add a debug draw line so you can see this. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in. You can type it in yourselves, but it's nothing crazy. So it's draw debug line. We're going to get the world, start location, which we've used previously, the end location. If it's a hit, the color will be red. If it's not, it's green. And then it'll be persistent lines false. The debug line lasts 1 second. Depth priority 0, and the thickness of the line is 2. So yeah, that'll give us a debug line showing where the start and end location are. Perfect. Next thing we need is check if it's been hit. If be hit and hit result. Where is hit? I think it's hit dot get components, and it's a component. And we also need to check again hit dot component and is simulating physics. So I'm going to copy and paste that bit. We check if it's simulating physics. We only want stuff that are simulating physics. Simulating physics, there we go. Perfect. So in here, we want to grab it with the physics handle. So physics handle. Oh, we should also check if physics on the inside here. I'm going to do a quick if. Not that one. I'm going to check if this physics handle is valid. Is valid. Is physics handle valid? Right, physics handle. Need to grab component at location with rotation, and then the component will be the hit result. The hit dot get component. The in bone name will be name. Wait, name. 1 sec. Name. None. And hit result will be the hit will be the impact point, and then last one will be the hit get component rotation. Hit So get components. Oh, I've done the wrong one. It's hit dot, not comma. Get component dot. Get component rotation. I think it was. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at notes. Get components rotation. I think that's perfect. Then after that, obviously we've got it. So the next thing we want to do is unpause the timer function. Get timer larger, and then unpause timer. Human pause timer, and then it'll be the picked up timer handle. And we're setting that timer handle. What have we done there? Sorry. And then we're setting the be picked up object equal to true, saying we picked something up. If we click this function again and we've got something picked up, so therefore we would like to drop it and it doesn't go into our completed function, we just need a bit of backup logic just to make sure there's no errors. So in this, we're going to do a quick is valid if is valid. This is for the physics handle, and physics handle release components. Release components. We're going to unpause that timer, so I'm just going to copy that and change it to. we're going to pause the timer. Be picked up again is back to false if we've gone through this code. I'm just making sure that object distance is still set at 500. Perfect. So that's interact done. And on to interact completed, we want this exact code. So let's copy and paste that over. Easier said than done. Sorry. Copy and pasted that over. That's perfect. So now we just need to keep hold of object. So basically what we want to do, we do need to do some is valid checks because we need to get the camera component. Oh, that reminds me. Have we done it is valid and if is valid camera component check on here? We haven't. So it's always best. Is valid first person camera component. We just need to make sure that it's valid because we 100% need it. There we go. Back to that, and we're doing exactly the same code there. We also need to check if the physics handle is valid again. You should always do this because if none of these are valid and it tries to go into this code, it will give some interesting results or potentially crash your game. So it's not really what you want. So for keep hold of object, we just need, I think it was this code, you can copy and paste it, it's exactly the same. Paste it in there, and with physics handle, we just want to set the location, so make sure the location is always 500 in front of us. So set target location and it'll be end location. So that's all the C++ code for now done. We're going to add a little bit extra in at the end, but this is just for the generic pickup at that distance and put it down somewhere else. So let's jump into this. So first things first, we want to go to the first person character. We've got the first person character there. Ooh, take that back. We need to make the input action. So input action, let's go down to input action, IA, interact. I'm gonna call it that. And then default mapping context. I'm gonna add one. And then this is going to be the interact if we can find it. There we are. I'm going to do left click, so I'm going to click on the here, and it'll be left click, left mouse button click. Perfect. Go back to the character, the blueprint, first person character. Go down to the bottom, add the input action, interact there, that's perfect. Now we just need an object. So the object we want is a chamber cube we could use, or that one looks a bit crap, we'll use chamber cube. So on this, we need to make sure it's simulating physics and is a physics actor. Perfect, we're testing it in the world now. Let's pick it up. Perfect, that's working. Can pick it up, move it around. When I let go of left mouse click, it drops it. I can kind of chuck it as well. So yeah, I've chucked it off the map. But now let's try and do something a little bit better, where using the mouse wheel we can move it back and forth. So yeah, let's jump into code and do that. So the first thing we want is another input action. I'm going to be creating another one. This is the mouse wheel scroll, and I'm going to call this one move object. Sorry, this is not the best name. Obviously you can have better names for it in your project, but this name is just coming off the top of my head. And then what we need next is, like, we've got interact completed. Realistically they should be with those functions above. Just put them there for the minute. I'm going to create another one, copy that. I'm going to call this one void move object length, we'll call it. Move object length, and the parameters we're passing in, we're going to pass in a const value, a const f input action value. So f input, can't spell, sorry about that, action value of reference type, which is an it. So passing in an f constant in. So passing in a const of an f input action value reference with the name value. Perfect. We also need to set a scroll speed. Sorry, I really couldn't get that out of my mouth. So scroll speed is a float. So this is how fast you'll be moving the object forward and backwards. You can change this at your own discretion, but I'm going to have it at, from what I've previously played around with, because I've got to test these before I actually make these videos, is around 50. So scroll speed will be 50. Like a tongue twister for me today. And there's not really that much we need to do for this, which is pretty good. So we've got that in there. First thing we're going to do is make the bind action. So we need to make another one. This is going to be move object interaction, I think it was. Yeah, and this is going to be on triggered. And the function will be the move object again, not action. Move object length. So we can jump into this. So what we want to do here, we want to get the value. So I'm going to create a float for the axis value. And it's going to equal value dot get f vector. No, get float it's supposed to be, sorry. I did autocorrect to that, but yeah, we're going to get the float value. Now we're going to get the object distance. No, we're not doing that. Sorry about this, it's constantly autocorrecting. Plus equals axis value times the scroll speed. And then we want to clamp this between two different values, so minimum and a maximum. So actually I might make these variables probably best. So I'm going to call a new property in. Oh sorry, we need a float min object distance, we'll call it. Yeah, we'll call it that. Min object distance, and we'll have one called max object distance. I'm going to say in here just for now. So let's say 200 and then 1000. This one's going to be max. We could change these to U properties so you could change them in Blueprint, but I'll just leave it like this for now. So we'll have min object distance. This is max object distance. So every time we scroll between it, it'll be adding the access value times the scroll speed. And that's perfect. And I'm just going to use a UE log. I've got one saved here. You can copy, you can type this out yourself, or this will show that it is working. So let's live code. Live coding is complete. Just creating that with an input action. Input action. What did we call it? We called it move object action. So I call IA move object. Let's call it that for now. Yeah. Not the best naming convention, but obviously you can change it for your projects to make it sound much however you need it. That's move object. Oh, I forgot to say something on that. When you change this from a digital ball to axis 1D float. So on value type axis 1D float. Back to default. We need to add a new one. And this will be the move object. There we are. Click on that and then use your mouse wheel and that'll be perfect. Go to the character at the bottom again, move object, compile, save. Now when we pick up an object, it should be perfect. Debug line is still there, so if you want to get rid of that, just get rid of the code. But I'll show you that it's definitely working, so one moment. Output log, as you can see, it's going to 1000, back to 250. So let's just place it on the wall. It automatically sets itself back to 500 each time, like we've done in the code, so that's perfect. And this is how to pick up objects in Unreal Engine using C++, sorry. If you do like this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and there'll be another video, like I said, every Saturday. Turn notifications on if you would like to see these videos, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.